Oh, listen, I am becoming better than I was before. Oh, I am becoming a better version 2.0. The Lord's got my front, got my back, my left and my right. Oh, Lua is guiding my life. I'm climbing the ladder. Yeah, becoming better 2.0.
My name is Internet and hello everyone. My name is Toy and this is Becoming 2.0. Today I am super excited. I have Miss Dottie Laster with us today and she will be talking to us about 55 things to know about child trafficking and the internet. Listen, you don't want to miss this. You want to be here right now. So I want you to share the link. I want you to invite your friends because somebody needs this. Somebody needs to hear this. And this can save a child, can help a parent. So why won't you want to share this? And I'm super excited. And right now, I am going to bring on the screen to talk to us about child trafficking and the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest for today, no, our guest for today, Miss Dottie Lester. Hello, how are you today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming. I'm super excited to have you. Thank you. I know you're really, really busy, but I'm so grateful that you would take out time to be here today to talk to us about child trafficking and the internet. So thank you.
Well, I'm always honored to do so. Sadly, we still need to talk about it. I've been doing this for 22 years and I thought it would be over by now, but sadly, I don't think anything's changed in 22 years. I started back in 2003 um, when it wasn't even a term that was known.
Mm.
And I thought in about 5 years, that's all it would take. And then I could move on and get on with my life and do something else. And it didn't work out that way. I'm still here. So I built human trafficking task forces across Texas and California under grants from the Department of Justice. So my role was to go in and tell authorities about this new law that was passed in 2000. So
Mm.
it's 25 years old, this law now, but at that time it was new. And to get federal and local law enforcement to work together and to arrest the traffickers and protect the victims. That law was called the Trafficking Victim Protection Act of 2000. And so
Mm.
I'm so honored that at the time I was selected to be trained by the Department of Justice to train law enforcement on this issue. So that led to an amazing career, wonderful, exciting things that I was able to take advantage of, like being invited to the White House, being in films and documentaries, being
Mhm.
on MSNBC, CBS, ABC. But sadly, with all that, we're still kind of not combating it in a way as a society that we
Mm.
should. So that's why I'm so honored to be here today, as I want to ask your listeners and your audience to join me in this, and let's not let it happen to any
Yeah,
of our kids, no matter whose kids they are.
that's right. That's right. Wow. 22 years and nothing has changed. And it's so
Nope.
funny that a lot of people still don't know about child trafficking. So that's why I'm very passionate about this topic today and that you're here to open our eyes and tell us about these dangers. And even now that every child is on a phone, almost every child is on the internet. And so I'm grateful that you're here today to talk to the parents, talk to the grandparents, to educate us about these dangers, and so we can know how to protect these children and even protect ourselves. So thank you. So what are the 55 things that we should know about child trafficking and the internet?
Well, the first thing I think is we have to understand that the smartphones came out in 2008, and that was a real changer for the bad guys. Because, before that, the internet was websites and email, so everything kind of had a trace to it. But when the smartphones came out and the apps came out, they connected all of our children to every predator in the world. And just take a breath and think about that for a moment. We connected our children, maybe not you and I, but we as a society connected our children to every predator on the planet. And no one thought about that. We just handed them all devices, hooked them up to the internet, schools, libraries, parents, grandparents, we're all putting them on the internet. So what do you think would happen? And it just shocks me to this day how naive as a community we still are. So if you're a bad guy, what are you going to do? You have to switch it and think about how bad guys think. You know, you're going to go, I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to bait. I'm going to lure. I'm using fishing terms on purpose. It's not if your kids will be targeted, it's how many times will they be targeted.
Wow. That's true. So now as parents, we have to think just like how the bad guys would think. And that would be the way to go about and protect the children.
Correct. And so that's what my little short read booklet, bigger than a brochure, smaller than a book, 55 things parents and grandparents should know. It doesn't tell you what to do. What it does is inform parents and grandparents so they can adjust their parenting skills. Because this is a new problem. You can't call your grandparents and say, how did you handle this when I was a kid? We didn't have that. And there isn't really anyone, there's not a concerted effort to protect parenting and children. Because let me tell you, I help some of the best parents there are. That is not enough to keep your kids safe. I help good parents every day. I help wonderful children every day. I help bad parents. I help absent parents. I help kids that were, maybe had a personality for trouble as well. All of them. There's not just one group here. Trafficking does not discriminate at all. It is one of the few things on the planet that does not discriminate in any way. You could be smart, you could be mentally challenged, you could be older, you could be younger, you could be from the United States, you could be from Spain, Africa, Central America. It doesn't care. All the traffickers see is your child or your young adult is worth a lot of money. Disabled, beautiful, it doesn't matter. I rescued a young woman in law school. I rescued another one in medical school. Doesn't matter. I rescued a woman who on her own at 19 was super wealthy. So wealthy, a private jet was sent when I found her to pick her up. She was trapped. So don't walk around thinking you're safe. I'm sorry to scare you, but if I don't, you're going to need my help, and I don't want that. I don't want you to ever need to call me.
Wow. So it doesn't really care what your financial status is. They don't really care. They will pick anybody. So how do we stay safe? How do we protect ourselves? Is there any signs to watch out for to know if this person is a trafficker? Like, how do we protect ourselves, protect these children?
Well, that is such a great question because that's where it all begins. First of all, we need to let ourselves and our children be reminded just because someone's nice to you does not mean they are your friend. Because the traffickers don't walk up and say, hey, I'm going to take you, I'm going to put you over here where a bunch of men are going to poke, prod, and invade you, where we're going to torture you and make money off of you, and we're going to keep it all, and your life is destroyed. That's not how they approach you.
No.
And not at all. If it was so easy, then I wouldn't be needed. What they do is say, hey, you're beautiful. You're smart. You're too good for school. Don't your teachers get it? You're smarter than they are. Don't you realize I can help you? There's one case I'll recall here because it's so ridiculous. It's funny only because I was able to rescue the kid before she fell into the trap, but it's also such a good example. I had this mother drag her 18-year-old daughter, been 18-year-old for a week, drag her into my office, literally kicking and screaming. And she said, this man I met is going to get me on the movie Baywatch. And I'm going to leave with him tomorrow. I'm going to Las Vegas, and then I'm going to be on Baywatch. Okay, well, I worked in Hollywood. I know how it goes. I have connections. So I go, well, I can get you an audition. I mean, I can't guarantee you're on there, but I can get you an audition. Let me call the biggest talent agency in Hollywood and set you up. And she just went, no, only this guy can do it. That is a big red flag. Only this guy can do it? Really? You won't take a call that I would call in a favor on your behalf from the biggest talent agency there is? The ones that actually represent stars? That's a red flag. Only this guy can do it. So anyhow, long story short, I was able to unbrainwash her just in time because had he picked her up, I don't think we'd have seen her on Baywatch or anywhere else again. Certainly not as this innocent, beautiful child. And so the idea that someone's going to love bomb you, befriend you, make you think you're smarter than you are, but then that one dream you have, only he can fulfill it. My next questions to her were, well, have you ever acted in anything? You know, high school, anything? No, never done acting. Have you had a professional photo shoot? Do you have any headshots? Because they're going to need headshots. No, I don't have that. And so you can see in her mind, she didn't want to do all that. She just wanted the quick trip to the top. And that's what that's what he was fishing with. That was his bait for her. Thank gosh, thank God, thank her mom that we were able to stop that.
What's one of the craziest things that has ever happened with this child trafficker that you've been involved in that you can think of?
Oh my gosh, there's a long list. The craziest things.
I know, 22 years. Wow. Fine.
Yeah. Well, you know, the first case I did, I mean, it wasn't the first case, but the first real police involvement and everything.
Yes.
What was crazy about it was how easy it was. This case had been what I had heard in briefings. We would meet with police and they would brief us. And for a year, they'd been arresting victims, asking them to talk, and then deporting them when they wouldn't talk. And they couldn't crack this ring of prostitution. And I go, okay, let me just think about this. If I were a victim, who would I reach out to for help? And so I knew there was a local domestic violence shelter that spoke Spanish, and these were Spanish-speaking victims.
Yeah.
And so I just went and did a short, you know, like hour-long training at that domestic violence place nearby. And I also learned about how they work. So cross-training, really important. And within 3 days, I thought it'd take a month or so, but within 3 days, they called me and said, hey, we have one of those cases. And I knew from the police that the bad guys paid the taxi drivers to inform if anyone tried to leave. And I knew from the domestic violence agency that they only transported victims with taxis. In other words, if someone called for help, they would send a taxi to get you to the shelter. So I said, hold on, I got this. And I turned around and picked her up. And that was different. I knew how the bad guys were exploiting the system. And I picked her up. She was 16 years old, scared to death. She knew she had a short window that she could evade them. And I had actually called police to help me, and they wouldn't come. So these guys were really protected. They had operated for 20 years without being disrupted. And so that one phone call led to the largest rescue of trafficking victims in U.S. history. And that one change in the procedures led to bringing down people that had operated openly for 2 decades. It also led to the first ever extradition for sex trafficking from Mexico to the United States. So that was a good phone call. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
All that was one of the easier things I've done.
Wow. So, how did you get into this field? Because how did you get into this child trafficking field? To like, how did you get the passion, the heart for this? How did you know about this? What gets you started in this field?
Well, it's kind of a bit of a long story. I'll try to shorten it a bit. As a child, I thought, as soon as I understood, I mean, like under 8 years old, I thought slavery was horrific. And I was so mad at that concept. And so I don't know if you see behind me, that's Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
He goes everywhere I go. As a child, I read the writings of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln and anything to do with slavery. And I always wondered, well, I'm glad it doesn't exist, but if it did, would I have fought the system? Or would I have just like hunkered down and put as many as I could help in my care and then been quiet? And I thought, well, I guess I'll never know the answer to that question. And so I went on with life. I raised horses. I was a trainer. And around 1998, 1999, there was a news story. And it talked about a slave ship with 80 children. Just a quick little news story. It said that the crew abandoned the ship when they realized the U.S. military was monitoring them. And that's it. No follow-up, no explanation. And I was so mad. And anger I'd never felt before. And so I did 2 things. I was mad at 2 things. One, the situation that 80 kids were put in. And 2, that I was in no position to help. I was a horse trainer. I had no ability to be of anything to this cause. And so I went back to college. I was in my 30s. I went back to college. And so, you know, when you get into college, you just want to get out, right? So I'm hunkered down. I get my degree. I realize, oh, I need a second degree to really be good. So I wake up kind of in my master's program. And the speaker from the State Department comes to our college and she talks about modern slavery, human trafficking. And it was like a lightning bolt hit me in the head. Literally, like I felt it. And I saw a flash forward of the next 10 years. Not a flash back, but a flash forward. And everything I saw happen, it was just instant. The training, law enforcement, being on TV, helping victims, that all just flashed like a deck of cards through my head. And so that's how it started. I started the next day. I was a college student. My professor knew I was really interested and gave me her seat in a meeting with all the local authorities and that speaker from the State Department. And in that meeting, I learned I had something none of them had, and that was freedom to do with my day what I wanted. They all had jobs, none of which include anything about human trafficking. And so I started that day training people, building coalitions, and then that led to formal jobs after that.
Oh, wow. Wow. So what do they do with these children after they've kidnapped them? What do they do with them? Like after they've taken, I believe, because I've seen some movies and some videos. So after they've taken them off the USA soil, are you guys able to recover some children and bring them back? Like, what do they do with these children?
I have. They, you know, if it's trafficking, they're usually tricked or lured or deceived. And so it appears they went away willingly, but they're in just as much danger as if they were snatched. Mm-hmm. And so they're put into forced labor or commercial sex. Mm-hmm. There can even be some worse things like organ harvesting and stuff. Luckily, I've dealt with a few of those cases with live victims that escaped. So we don't know what happens to the ones that don't on that organ harvesting. But the labor and the sex. I have retrieved young adults and children taken from the U.S. out of the U.S. And it's funny, in the news you hear about all the children brought in, but there's no number for children taken out. No one's looking at that.
Wow.
And if they're saying they lost over 300,000 immigrant children here in the U.S., how many of our children are lost around the world? It's got to be a similar number or more. So I would say the quicker we get involved, the better. But when they come back, it depends on what's happened to them, but they don't come back the same, and they don't come back okay. It takes a lot. So I always say 20% and 80%. 20%, no matter where they are and how hard it is to find them, that's finding them. The 80% comes after we find them. It's harder to recover them. I mean, it's harder to heal them than to recover them. And it's more urgent because you're so worried they're going to get trafficked again. Because the bad guys don't stop looking just because you got them back. The bad guys, wait a minute, let you get tired, settle down, everyone's exhausted, and then they come back. And that has happened quite a few times where we'll get them to safety, but they're so manipulated and brainwashed and hurt and scared and coerced that that's not it. How do you save someone who has coercion all around them that knows if I don't get back to this guy, something really bad's going to happen to a person that I love? And that's the 80%.
Wow.
I have to protect everybody, not just the victim.
So what signs can parents watch out for? Because now I know we also have all these sex addicts online, sex offenders online on the internet. What are the signs that parents can watch out for in their children? Are there signs to look out for so we're able to protect these children from, these internet predators?
Yes, I advise parents, you need to monitor their phones without them knowing. And you must. It's not fair to think your child can stand up to someone who has spent their life grooming children. And the pedophiles and the traffickers, that's what they love to do. I had a victim I mentioned about going to medical school. We found 750 text messages. And this girl went from just a happy, loving girl to someone who was having neurological deficits so much she was going to a neurologist. She was losing time, blacking out, having night terrors. And the neurologist couldn't figure out what's wrong with her. He ran all these tests and he said, something's wrong, but I can't figure it out. Well, no one ever thought about the trauma of being groomed.
Wow.
And so, so a lot of times it looks like teen angst. Well, my kid's running away, my kid's not behaving the same, the grades are dropping. That can happen, but when it's more than that is when that child is becoming isolated in plain sight. When your child is right next to you, but you don't know where they are. That's the grooming, and that's what happens before they go missing.
Oh, wow. Because I also saw on the news one time, I think it was on Facebook, a young boy in high school that committed suicide because he fell into the hands of one of these traffickers online. Like parents don't really know the toll that this people can have on the children, especially now in America, or especially that the parents are we are always working. We are always working. So parents, please try and pay attention to your children. If you see they are withdrawing, like Miss Dottie said, they are not communicating, they're becoming isolated, they become quiet, and they look fearful, you will know. We are parents, sometimes we will know. We may not think of it that someone is grooming them to kidnap them, or a child trafficker is talking to them, but we will know that there are some changes, Is there anything else you want to tell us, Miss Dottie, from your book? She has an ebook. Where can we get this ebook from? Because in this ebook, she listed the 55 things that parents and grandparents should watch out for. So where can we get this book? Where can we download it?
It is at my website, Trafficking Victim Rescue Central.org. And I hope you can put a link underneath. If not, you can Google Dottie, Dottie, plus 55 things, and I bet it'll pop up in Google. But it's really important to understand what you're up against. And, one thing also to look for, when children, especially teenagers, are angry, and they are, I was too, a little brat with a smart mouth, I'm sure. But I told my parents what I was mad about. I mean, I was so critical of them getting divorced and trying to, deal with all that. If someone said, "What's your daughter mad about?" they could list off 3 or 4 things right away. When your kid's angry at you and you don't know why, that's another big red flag. They're isolating. They have this intense anger, but you can't put your finger on what you've really done wrong. A normal teen's going to tell you, and probably tell you in a really disrespectful way, but they're going to tell you when they're truly mad. But when they're angry and you just can't get them to tell you why, somebody's got their little fingers in their head making their brain scrambled. I mean, it's what it looks like. They're mad as heck. They start to lose their friends, their sports. I advise parents, spot check your kid at 3 a.m. and make sure they're not texting somebody. If you take their device away, you must understand the bad guy wants you to, and then they're going to drop a device on them you don't know about. And also remember, they don't need the device you gave them. All they have to do is log in. They can go to school, the library, their friends. Taking their device away, I don't know what I'd do if I were a parent now with that, but I'm just telling you that doesn't shut the door. Taking the device away opens the door. So when you read the 55 things, you can make, some more informed parenting decisions when you understand how the bad guys use your great parenting against you.
Wow. They don't need the device. They don't need the phones that we take away on the iPad. They just need their login. They can log in anywhere. Oh my God.
Anyway,
I didn't think of
that. Internet, it emails me when the oil change is ready. I mean, where do you escape the internet? Because honestly, if I knew where that was, I would say take your kids there. Wherever there's no internet, that's where all the teenagers and young adults should live. So they're like 30, literally 30. I've rescued 28-year-olds. I've rescued college students, advanced college students, parents that are, I don't know what age you're really free and clear of it, but well over 25. It's very easy to be manipulated.
Wow. You mentioned children from divorced homes. So is this a target? Are they targeting them because is it easier to get to children from broken homes? Can you talk more about that, please?
Yeah, when I first started this, I saw a lot of that. Someone that was marginalized, maybe they were from another country, a broken home, sad about something. Obviously, that's a big red flag some predator's gonna, go for. However, as the years have gone by, I've also seen good homes, meaning not, this obvious rift in between the family, not an obvious financial problem, not an obvious, even spiritual problem, just all great families running on all cylinders, and still their kids can be targeted. I've rescued homeschool kids, private school kids, public school kids. What you have to understand is you cannot trust your kid with anybody. And, just look at all the, not trafficking, but the predators in the schools, teachers, molesting children, teachers, coaches, even the doctor for the Olympians, the gymnastics team. These predators put themselves in a place of opportunity, and they will have the best credentials, people that would back them up no matter what. I did training with someone who supervised adult sex offenders for 40 years. And I realized he and I were talking about the same thing, but different words. We were talking about the grooming, the preparing society so when they get caught, nobody would believe the child, the discrediting of the child. So not only is the child groomed, but we're all groomed as well. And so you really have to watch. I hate to tell you this, but do not feel safe leaving your child with anyone, having them spend the night anywhere. They are worth well over $300,000 a year to a trafficker, and to a predator, a pedophile, or someone that likes having sex with children. That's all those people think about and they create their life around access and trust of parents. So broken homes definitely open the door, because you've got, by that definition, not 4 eyes on a kid, just maybe 2 eyes, and 2 parents. It really, 2 parents plus the grandparents, which is why I put that in there. So, like, I have grandkids now. They have 2 parents, and they have there's actually 4 grandparents and a step grandparent. So they've got 5 sets of 2 eyes watching them, and I don't know if that's enough. Also, in families, I would just alert you. I just came to this realization. We probably all have someone who would prey on children in our family, not maybe in the house you live in, but at least in your extended family. I found one in my side. I found one on my husband's side, or he found her. And honestly, they were the 2 we might have trusted the most if I didn't do what I do. And so if you really start looking in the families, and you'll see where kids start going off the rails, you need to look who had access to that kid, who was trusted. I don't want to never trust anybody. I'm not saying that. But with your kids, you're it. You're the steward of their lives. And it's up to you, the parents, the grandparents, the people that made them, to protect that precious, most valuable resource in the world, worth more than money. Because the bad guys look at it as money, and the pedophiles and people that like to prey on teenagers, they look at them as opportunity and power. So they're very precious. Don't forget it. If you throw $300,000 in your driveway in a pile, what would you have to do to protect it? That's how you look at your child. How careful you have to be. They're walking around, and bad guys look at them as a big old pile of cash.
Wow. And that's one thing parents don't realize. Like, for me, I'm very protective of my children. I do not let them walk to any bus station. I do not let them take the school bus. And I mean, at first some friends said, when I'm doing too much, they think that I'm doing too much, or the one thing you do not realize, Miss Dottie, is that I have taken one of your classes. I have taken one of your human trafficking classes, and this was about 15 years ago. It was a long time ago. Yes, it was a long time ago. Through Railbot Ministries, is a non-profit organization. So since then, I have become kind of aware. Before then, I didn't have any knowledge of human trafficking. I didn't even know what it was. But that class really opened my eyes. Really opened my eyes. Yes, a lot of parents don't know that when they go to work, these people hang around the neighborhood. They're looking at kids. They're looking at children. They're paying attention. Okay, nobody picks this one up. This one have to walk from school down to the house. Things like that. They know the schedule. Sometimes they watch parents when they leave the house. When they come out, they know children that are always left alone in the house. So these are things they look out for, and that's why it's so easy for them to just grab some children off the street, or they grab children from their neighborhood. So as parents, God will help us, because we have to work, but we have to be extra careful. As parents, how do people become sex traffickers? I know Are there signs to watch out for? Is it something from their childhood? Like what happened that will make somebody to want to actually, you know what I'm saying, hurt a child or kidnap a child or, why? I mean, are there things to watch out for growing up? Is it a narcissist behavior? Like, what are the signs parents can watch out for to make sure that children do not become a sex trafficker or human trafficker?
That is such a good question. I've never been asked that before. Thank you. Um, I'll give you a real life example. I was speaking at a college here in San Antonio, and a class of sociology students. That's one of my degrees. And I went back to my alma mater and spoke.
Yeah.
And I was walking to the car, and this young man, I guess he had waited, and he probably stalked me a little because I didn't go straight home. I saw my professor, and so this man really wanted to talk to me. He was probably about 19, 20 years old. And he came up, and he was real kind of timid, but he had to talk to me. And so I gave him a moment. I said, okay, what do you need? And he said, you saved my life. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you, but how did I do that? And he
Mm.
said, I grew up in Houston, in the Bissonnette area, where there's a lot of prostitution that goes on. And the guys around me kept telling me I'm too smart to be a pimp, that I need to go to college. And my plan was that I wasn't doing too well. And if I washed out here, I was going to go back and be a pimp. But I didn't know what that meant. Thank you, Dottie. I didn't know. I'm never, ever going to be that. And so there's this part of society that glamorizes this really bad behavior. Try watching TV or movies without a gratuitous strip club scene. You almost can't do it. I'm down to food shows and home improvement shows. That's like the only place that I'm not sitting there enjoying my night and then the strip club scene gets in. And the same with pimping. Snoop Dogg is beloved. His costume is that he's a pimp. And so we've made it glamorous. And so young men may not know if they still have a heart. They don't know. And you want to get to them before they've gone too far down that dark road to come back. Luckily, this young man had some people that saw beauty in him, and they didn't really know how to tell him everything, but they told him, go to college, you're too smart for this. But all he saw was these guys in their disguise of having lots of money and all these pretty women around him, and it was a great life. He didn't understand. By the time he had understood, we could have lost that soul. That instead, I believe he finished college and went on to something better. So, thinking money is everything, that's really the first thing. Money's just numbers. It's just paper. Yeah, it buys some things, but it's not worth your soul. So don't let them get caught up in the money and also watch who they're hanging with. There's a study done at prostitutionresearch.com. They couldn't find 100 men who had not bought stripping, porn, or prostitution. Now stop and think about that. 100 men they couldn't find because they were doing a study on sex buyers, and they couldn't find a control group of men who don't buy sex. So women, wake up. That's your brothers, fathers, husbands, boyfriends, sons that are fueling this demand. And they aren't raised to understand how violent this is. They're raised to think that they're a man if they do that. And we got to change that. And women, that's our problem. Yeah, it's men doing it, but we're often not raised to watch out for it. We're not raised to think our husband will stop at the strip club on the way home from work and not think it's a problem. So as much as you watch your kids, you better watch the men in your life as well.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I saw some pictures a few days ago that broke my heart. A lady just gave birth to a baby, and the baby is just barely 4 months old. 4 months old. The the woman's brother came to visit them in the house, and she said she was downstairs, attending to some clients. So the brother was upstairs with the baby. Then after a while, the baby started crying out so loud, and the brother rushed downstairs and said, the baby's crying, I gotta go." And she went upstairs, started, feeding the baby. She did, of course, it didn't come to her mind that her own brother could molest a 4-month old baby.
Oh
I
my.
mean, she said the baby was just crying. She didn't know what to do after feeding the baby. She opened the diapers to change the diapers, and that was when she saw that. She said she almost fainted.
I'm
She
so
had to
sorry.
rush the baby. Yeah, she had to rush the baby to the hospital. I don't know if the baby made it. So sometimes even family members, yeah.
Everybody's got someone in their family, whether they know it or not. I'm sorry. There's at least one,
Oh
and you
my
don't want
God.
to put it out that way. And oh my gosh, that poor little baby.
Yeah.
Um, and it comes from pornography. If any of you have porn around your family, it doesn't satisfy, so they have to go deeper and darker and worse. And so I think my next book's going to be 55 things girlfriends and wives should know.
Hmm.
Um, Women don't do bad things, we do. But on this commercial sex end, it's all men. Like, it's marketed to men. If women would buy it, they'd market it to us. Even when it's women on women, even when it's boys, it's men buying. And so it's really important
Hmm.
to not just protect your kids, but protect your family. And
Yes.
that opens a portal to some really bad things when porn is existing. It
Oh my
doesn't
God.
stay on the screen. It's not harmless. The people in the pictures, I've rescued them too. They are harmed even more so because those pictures took many, many takes, and those videos took much more than you see. So the point being, we just don't need this stuff. We need to get rid of commercial sex. We need to grow up as a society and protect our children always. And my gosh, what a beautiful world it would be. And that's what I'm working for. But in 22 years, I don't think I've changed the structure of trafficking. I've only helped a lot of people, and I'm sad about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. In 22 years, how many children have you been able to rescue?
I don't know. I didn't count them because when victims said they didn't want to be counted, and I go, okay. But I know on that big rescue, there was 120 victims. Now, I didn't rescue them all, but I rescued the one that led to them. That was the largest rescue in U.S. history. And that was back in 2005. So I would say
2005.
100 at least.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot. I've probably helped about 140 people be arrested for trafficking. Now, again, I didn't arrest them, but I provided evidence that led to an investigation that caused their arrest. So I'm kind of proud of that number, even though that's still not enough.
wow, you are doing such a great thing in the community. Thank you. I mean, in even the US at large. So thank you for all that you're doing. So you said something. You said that you're going to write a book. You're thinking you're gonna write a book of something that girlfriends and wives and sisters should watch out for. So now that people are dating, and of course, we have a lot of online dating and stuff like that, what are things to watch out for to make sure that we are not dating traffickers? Yes. Um, what are the things to watch out for to make sure we are not with sex traffickers?
Well, I'm going to quote a colleague of mine who's now deceased, but a wonderful woman in the domestic violence movement, Susan Murphy Milano. She said, if the guy you're dating is so slick and perfect and always like on the menu, bringing you flowers, saying the right thing, he's working you. Most men are a little bit awkward. They mean well, but sometimes they kind of, say the stupid thing or they put their foot in their mouth. And I'll
Yeah.
give an example. Like one time I was at lunch, right after she said this, I'm like, oh, she's so right. Was at lunch, my husband's staring into my eyes, and he's just really nodding and paying attention. And I turn around, the football game's on behind me. I go, yeah, she's right. Men are a little awkward. The guy working you, the football game would have been on behind me. So
Mm.
you gotta watch that, Mr. Wonderful. Do a little background research. Hire a PI. It doesn't cost much to see if he's ever been arrested. Now that just means he's been caught. If he has an ex-wife, my gosh, call her. See what she'd say. Um, just do a little due diligence, the same as you would as if you were buying a business. Like
Mhm.
please, maybe more. And
Mm.
don't just don't just listen to your heart and your head, because here's what I think helps the most to understand about us in dating. When you look at a printed piece of paper or even a painting, if you get really close, the spaces, like the printed paper has dots and there's space between the dots, but our brains connect the dots. If you look at a painting from a distance, you can see the pattern. When you get really close, you don't see them. It's uneven. It's not all filled in. We
Mm.
do it with people too, especially with the internet. Our brain fills in what we hope that person will be. And that's why the online predators are so effective for the
Mm.
teens, the children, and the adults. Your brain will fill in the parts you don't know with the parts you want to be true. So don't let
Mm.
that happen. Life, it's fun to date, but to really intermingle two lives, be careful. And if you
Mm.
have children, really, really be careful. Is that man dating you through your kids or for you?
Oh my
And
gosh.
I really hate to tell women that, but your kids are more important than your dating life. And my mom told me that a long time ago. And gosh darn it, she was a smart woman. She didn't date till my brother and I were adults. And
Mm.
my parents got divorced, obviously. And she didn't. And I'm so grateful to her for that now. I am so
Mm.
grateful. Thank goodness I was never in that position. I wouldn't
Mm.
be who I am now had she put me in harm's way. So
Mm.
the other thing is women and girlfriends, if your husbands and boyfriends are doing porn, full stop, halt right there. I don't say you have to leave them, but you do have to make that stop. Um, the other thing is, spot checking, tell them you're out of town and see what happens. Do a little surveillance. It's not a bad idea. Too
Yeah.
easy when you're around. Cameras are great. AirTag in the vehicle, I don't know. That's kind of fun. See where he goes when he's supposed to be at lunch. Um, you're gonna risk your life
Mm.
whenever you become intimate with someone. Your chance of being murdered or harmed by that particular person dramatically increases as that of someone you haven't been intimate with. So really be careful. I don't think people tell us this. We aren't
Yeah.
warned.
Mm.
We're just told be nice and desirable and be thin and don't eat too much and flirt a little here or there and attract that man with money or position or power. But I think there's a lot more to it than that. I wish I would have known sooner. I'm happy where I am, but I think I wasn't told the whole truth as a young woman. I could have really made some bad mistakes.
So do men also get trafficked? Do we have women traffickers today? Because we've been talking about what the men are doing, men as examples. Ladies also, do they traffic people? Do they traffic men? Do they traffic children?
They do. In fact, women are overrepresented, meaning there's more of them as victims and traffickers than men. And the women, hugely brutal. Don't think they're less brutal. They actually kind of overcome their physical strength with more brutality. Their lack of physical strength with more brutality. Also, men are trafficked for labor. Oh my gosh, horrific conditions. They're trafficked for sex, both men and boys. And in fact, one of I'm just reading a really compelling book right now called The Scientist and the Serial Killer by Lisa Olson. It was about murders in Houston in the Montrose area in the 70s. And nothing has changed.
Wow.
These were 11 of the victims turned up in porn. 11. There were 30 victims, and 11 of them were in this particular porn site, which was not really disrupted. The police told the parents that their kids had run away, which wasn't true. In fact, some of them were held for a while. If the police had looked and maybe put the patterns together, they could have saved a bunch of those victims. And it was all luring, grooming children to come willingly and then be trafficked for porn and then murdered. So if you live in the Houston area, it's a really good read, because the chief of police there was actually saying there's no pattern. 11 of them knew the same kid at the high school. Like there was clearly a lot of patterns of missing children. And so we really, really need to not let these things happen again. And yet here they are right now. While I'm reading this book, I was working on a case exactly like it. Now I got the kid back alive, thank God, but I had to really maneuver the police department to help us, because we had evidence that they wouldn't act on it of where he was. Once I got him moving, they found him in a day. Thank God for that, because if they hadn't have, what was next? What do you do with a kid after you've done the crime that always gets you a long penalty? You can't just let them go. So another thing I wanted to bring up on that topic, if you really, really want to understand who's on the other side of that internet, watch on YouTube. There's a group called Colorado Ped Patrol. This young boy, his son, was molested by someone he met online, was sexually assaulted. And so that dad put on a camera, put himself online as a 12-year-old girl and a 12-year-old boy. And he has met 500 predators and gotten most of them arrested. Instead of sitting back, he decided to do something. And it's so scary when you see what these people write that they want to do to the children, and then they show up. And if that's not enough, watch Chris Hansen. He's on YouTube at True Blue, TRUBLU. He's been doing these predator stings for 22 years. Like, we're at the same number of years in our career. He thought, like I did, I'll do a few of these and then it'll stop. Well, 22 years later, he has doubled down. He's still doing it. They still show up. They even walk in the door and know it's him. They'll even text and go, this isn't Chris Hansen in it. And they still show up. They can't control themselves.
Wow.
And what they want to do to these kids will curl your toes. So watch your kids. If you don't believe me, watch those guys online. If you still don't believe me, read The Scientist and the Serial Killer by Lisa Olson. If you still don't believe me, I can't help you. Because you have got to protect your children and your family and your husband.
You said the YouTube channel is True Blue, TRUBLU?
Yes.
Wow.
That's Hansen's channel. He also has a network where you can sign up and subscribe at trueblue.com. But sadly, I have to admit, it's a guilty pleasure of mine, because with what I do, people do get arrested, but it takes a long time, and that's not my focus. I just want to get the victims out. When I watch these guys, and within 20 minutes, I see a bad guy who really needs to be stopped, and then I get to see the handcuffs go on. It's actually, I don't like it when people have a bad day, but these guys, it just makes me feel the world's a little better knowing another one has been disrupted.
Wow. So. Wow. I took a training one time, and they showed us a video. The child was kidnapped at 12 years old. The mom went crazy, tried to get the help from all the neighbors, and they did that for many years. But would you believe that the person who kidnapped her was a sex offender, and he was living kind of in that same neighborhood? And he had the girl locked up in his basement, for I think over 12 years. As of the
Mm.
time they found the girl, the man already impregnated her. She had like four different children. I mean, she was in the same neighborhood. The mom was going crazy looking for the child everywhere. And the guy was on parole. And the parole officer would come and go, and nobody noticed that that was going on. So even in our neighborhood, guys, we have to be watchful. Like they are everywhere. They are everywhere. We have to be watchful. When your children are playing outside, be there with them. Don't just stay on the phone and away from them. I don't do sleepovers because I don't know. I don't know parents. I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I don't let my babies to sleep over because I'm very protective like that because you just never know. And it's so scary the amount of children marrying their stepdads.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, so how long have you been touching this child? How long have
Yeah.
you been with this child? So it's this world is just scary. But I thank you
It's
for
not.
what you're doing.
We have to understand it's not safe to be a child right now. I want it to
Mhm.
be, but it's not. And so I give you and every parent listening permission, if you need it, from me to be as careful as you know how. You cannot be too careful when your
Mhm.
friends or colleagues or other parents say you're being overprotective. So Dottie
Mhm.
said, I can't be too protective.
No.
You can't. And your
Cannot.
children are precious and wonderful. And let me tell you, to have a missing child is worse than having a deceased child because you can't rest, you can't stop. I've worked on missing persons most of my career. It's the worst thing that could ever happen to you and your family. So don't let it happen. Just don't. You're right. Watch them. Don't be on your phone at the playground. Don't be absent from their lives because you don't ever. I've had parents that abandon their kids show up and say, "Help me, help me, help me." They didn't care, and then all of a sudden, when the child's missing, they can't even rest. So don't do it. Get them, get them to an old enough age, and then you can rest.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Woo. We have a question in the from the audience. She said, for those who work a lot or have to leave their kids with someone, or just in general for protection, how can we train a child to be able to protect themselves and recognize danger or predator? That's a great question.
That is a very good question, and that is a tough question. I don't have a perfect answer. What I can say is, as the child gets older, they will be able to protect themselves. And one thing I tell the kids is only you can truly protect yourself. The parents and the schools have rules because they don't need to tell you about all the bad things in the world. If you follow the rules, you just remember they're there to protect you. So if you don't follow mom's rules, I can't protect you. But you must follow the rules and then set up rules that you think are applicable to that situation. If you have to have a babysitter or whatever, I'm a fan of nanny cams. I'm a fan of showing up, you know, when they don't expect you. And I'm a fan of talking to your kid and really watching not what they say, but how they react. Do they say yes, everything's okay, and look down and clam up, or are they go yay, yay? So watch your kid, monitor your kid, and then trust but verify anyone around your
Mm,
kid. And
yeah.
then limit that as much as you can. I know it's hard. I wish I could make it where moms didn't have to work. That's how kind of it used to be. And I wish we'd move back to that so you can focus on the kids.
Yeah, yeah, wow. And the government are not helping, the schools are
No,
not helping. So you have to be everything. You have to be everything to your children. You have to be the
it's
police.
hard.
You have to be the detective. You have to screen every friend. You have to know every channel, any link they click on. You have to be there because even from downloading games they have all these sexual adverts that comes up and they're just kids, they don't understand, they can just click anything. So let me ask you this last question. So at what age do you think is safe to actually give a child a cell phone?
30.
I agree.
If I could now, I'd do a pen and paper and stamps. That's your cell phone. I don't know. Whatever age, though, you must monitor it. There's programs like Bark. There's other programs out there. You must monitor it. I would also drop a device on them that they don't know about. This is really important because the bad guy, if they're going to target your kid, they're going to manipulate their mind first. So, I have a disabled daughter. She's an adult, but I keep an air tag on her, or it's also called Tile. There's a device that's used for your luggage if you lose your luggage. It works really well. I just have it inside one of the jackets that she wears every day. She agrees to it. She doesn't mind. In her case, she's 41, so she's not really a child, but she's like a child. So as they get older, maybe you tell them things as they get older, but as they're younger, I think you have to do everything within your power to keep them monitored and safe. And sometimes that's a tile and a camera and someone who just totally, looked into their life in every way possible. And sometimes you go, hey, I'm taking my kid to work today. I don't know. If you gave me a 12-year-old and $2 million, I'd pass. I can't do it. I don't know. My kids were older before these smartphones came out, so I got a pass. Thank gosh, I didn't have to deal with it. But I would say monitor, verify, surprise people that are babysitting your kids. Show up, 2 hours early unannounced. Nanny cam, and then watch the kid, watch how they react.
Yeah,
and again, if they're happy doesn't mean you're safe. But if they're happy, and you verified, and you monitored, and you followed, then maybe. Yeah, I'd be a horrible parent of a 5 or 6-year-old right now. I don't know what I'd do.
Man, look, listen. It's a lot of work. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today. So one more time, this is Ms. Dottie Laster's website, traffingvictimrescuecenter.org. You can go on there and download this ebook. Please, everyone, go there, get this book for your children. Download this ebook, send it to friends, send it to family. Let's keep ourselves safe. Let's keep the children safe. We learned today that, hey, listen, they can get anybody from 25 years down, 25, 19, 18, 5, 4, 3, 2, even newborns. Nobody is safe. They come for the rich, they go for the poor, they go for everybody. So so please download this ebook on the website trackingvictimrescuecenter.org. So Miss Dottie, if someone wants to invite you to their program, to their church, to a seminar, to a conference to talk about these things, how can they get to you?
You can reach me on our website that you just gave out. You can call me 210-882-2259. Call or text me that number or email me from my website. I would love to reach out to your group. And when I speak, I include in my fee a book for everybody. I want people to understand why this book is important, and then I want to have it in their hands so they can refer to it later. I want to get these kids raised without any trauma and let them go off and be the amazing young adults they're supposed to be.
Amen. Thank you. I said amen. Yes, amen. Thank you so much. Guys, if you're watching, please screenshot this flyer. You can get Miss Dottie on Zoom. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be in the US, right? You can train on Zoom. She can train anywhere. So screenshot this flyer. Our email is there. Our phone number is there. The website is there. I want you guys to please reach out. If you're watching, talk to your pastors, talk to your parents, talk to your boss, talk to everyone. They can invite her to come and talk about this. We need to spread this information everywhere so we can keep ourselves safe. We can keep our families safe. We can keep our loved ones safe. So please, everyone, screenshot this, send a message, important message, guys. And please don't just call. If you're calling with an invitation. Okay, guys.
Yes.
Quickly, let me see you guys type thank you, thank you, thank you to Miss Dottie before she leaves us today. Let me see you guys type thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. Thank you, Miss Dottie. We really, really, really appreciate you. We have live audience, by the way. We have people watching from some from Nigeria, some from Atlanta, some from Houston, and I know some people will still watch later. Um, yes, thank you guys. Let me see you. Keep typing. Thank you. Keep it coming in. Keep it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Yes, go download the ebook. Go and download the ebook. If you cannot get it, if you cannot download it, you guys know how to reach out to me. So please reach out to me. We're gonna download this book. We are all getting this book. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. We also have people watching all the way from Ireland. Thank you. We have Dallas, we have Houston, we have Nigeria. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes, I am so grateful. Thank you once again, Miss Dottie. It's such a pleasure having you here today. Thank you again. This is the ebook, guys. 55 things parents and grandparents should know. I'm gonna post the website one more time. Please go on to the website and download this ebook, so we can all protect ourselves. Okay, we can protect ourselves, our children, our loved ones. Yes, yes. Thank you. Go download the ebook. Thank you.
To my newsletter. I have a place you can subscribe to my newsletter on Substack, and I try to post there pretty regularly. And I've got a great editor, Larry Jaffe, who takes my words and make them really nice to read.
Yes, I'm actually subscribed to your newsletter, so I get your emails. I get your email.
Good.
So it keeps me updated. Let me know what's going on. And I mean, wow, thank you. You are doing such an excellent work. Thank you. And we are grateful. And hopefully you will come back soon.
Yeah,
When you write your 55 things girlfriends, moms, and wives should know. I would love to read that as well. I would love to read that. Thank you. Thank you
I
so
would.
much, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness, have we learnt or what? Thank you so much, Miss Dottie Lester. Thank you. Did you hear this guy? She has been doing this for 22 years. 22 years, and there's still not much of a change. They are still, if you signed up, I know a lot of you get the Amber Alerts when they are kidnapping children, kidnapping grown-ups. I mean, it's a lot. And so that's why I'm so grateful that we have someone like Dr. Lester doing this. This is a woman of great honor. I really, really appreciate what she's doing in our society. So, guys, please go over to our website, Trafficking Victim Rescue Center.org. Let us download our ebook. This is our own way of saying thank you. And also, if you want to support our work in any way, send her an email on the website. See how you can support her so she can do more and catch these bad guys. I am so grateful for people like this who go out of their way, have the passion, the heart to help other people's children. And this is what love is about. And love is Dottie, and Dottie is love. Thank you so much, Miss Dottie. We really, really appreciate you. So, guys, I also have books on Amazon. I have books on Amazon, and I want you guys to please download my books as well and buy the e-copies. I have two prayer journals, Lioness Arise and Lion Arise. I have one called Ife. Ife, it means love, is a poetry book. And also I have wonderful romantic ideas for couples. And on Amazon, you'll find my books under my name, Mary Obilano. So please go out and support in any way that you can. I know that these books will bless you and help out a lot. I have a 40-day prayer journal for ladies and the guys as well, and I know that this will really, really help. And also, let me show you guys real quick. I have a non-profit organization. We need you guys to please partner with us, support us, and I'm gonna see how I can get Miss Dottie to incorporate human trafficking into Mario Foundation, because I really have a passion for this. I'm telling you guys, It's an eye opener, and I think that everybody should be involved in this, not just watching out for your own kids, but for every other person's children. Remember what she said? She said they get people from the as long as you're 25, 24, 23 up to zero, you're not safe. You're not safe. And I was talking to someone a few days ago. I said, this is not the time to start having 12 children, 6 children, 8 children, because this society is not safe. I know that some of us may be in denial, but really, if you're truthful with yourself, you know that, man, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. So I'm very, very grateful to have Miss Dottie support us to join us today. I don't know about you, but I mean, this has been a great eye opener. Just listening, learning, and my goodness, the sex trafficker can be anybody. It can even be the person that you are dating. And she sent me this picture. I forgot to share it. Now, this is a child that is uh, being surrounded by all these crocodiles and alligators and sharks, and all these people represented the human traffickers. And that's the child just innocently probably playing game on that phone, and the child doesn't know that he or she is surrounded with all these dangers. So let's, as parents, man, we have a lot to do. So one more time, this is Miss Dottie's 55 things parents and grandparents should know. So please go to the website. I want you guys to please download. You know what? Once you finish downloading, send me a message, guys. Say I have downloaded this, and if you have to pay for it, I will reimburse some of you. Some of you, only those who are in Africa, I will reimburse you guys. So let me know, okay? And send me a message. I am becoming 2.0 at gmail.com. Thank you once again for joining in today. This has been wow, oh wow, a high opener. I keep saying that because I am blown away. I am so blown away. And also, lastly, we need partners. So please join us, support us, partner with us, maryofoundation.com. We need partners to support what we do. We do skill trainings, we do all these trainings. But at the same time, I think I want to also add human trafficking training now. I would love to add that to what we do. So please join us. We need partners. Even if what you want to do is a one-time giving, or you want to be a monthly be in monthly partnership with us, $20, $50, $100 every month, it goes a long way. So thank you guys, and please subscribe. If you did not subscribe, please subscribe so you will not miss the next time I'm on here with a new guest. Thank you for joining. I mean, today we had up to I think 15, 16, 17 people at a time. So that's great. And I know a lot of people will still watch. And please do me a favor, share this link, share this knowledge. And also remember, you can always go to the website. Let's invite Miss Dottie. Let's invite her, because a lot of people do not know that we have this much danger around us. So let's invite her. Let her come out to your programs, to your events. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It might be your birthday. Yeah, it might be your birthday. You can invite Miss Dottie to come out and just talk to the parents and talk to them. You might be having a children's birthday party. I mean, you have parents all around. That's a great time, a great place to also educate parents at the same time. So let's not be selfish with this information. Please, let's share it out. And of course, I am your host, Tony, and this is Becoming 2.0. If I've not told you before, I'm going to tell you again. I love you. I am grateful for you, and thank you. Thank you so much for joining today. God bless you.